What's happening, guys? I'm Dan. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving back into another Goose Island Bourbon County Brand Stout variant, and today it's the Macaroon Stout 2024 variant, of course. And I was able to get my hands on this very luckily, and so I'm thrilled to share this experience and review it with you guys today, at least from my perspective. So today we have a stout aged in bourbon barrels with coconut, ginger, cacao nibs, and natural flavors. I don't know that I've ever seen Bourbon County put natural flavors on it. I don't really know if I love that, but that's okay. I gave you the gist on what they wrote on the back. So this is clocking in at 14.6% ABV, bottled on September 5th or September 29th. Maybe that's I don't know what that is. Sometime in December. I'm not going to go into it. It's a monster, guys. It's not like it's the biggest Bourbon County we've ever seen, but not a slouch at 14.6. Again, this is going to be comparable to the other one that I reviewed. This is going to be $24.99 basically in Michigan. So that's what this 16.9 ounce bottle will get you money-wise. So 25 bucks. Let's get into this and talk about it. And again, super thrilled to review it with you guys. It is pretty cold still. I will say I didn't give it enough time to warm up. Sometimes I've been guilty of doing this lately because I prefer them to be a little bit more chilled than I do warm. Although I know that hinders the flavor. So from a beer nerd perspective, I'm not doing this right, so let's get a pour anyways, knowing that it's a little bit too cold. But I do like the little chill on it. So as we pour it, a little brown, a little amber, a little beige inside of that darkness that accumulates into the glass. But it's nonetheless freaking Bourbon County. It's oily, it's viscous, it's midnight oil. It's dense as motor oil. It looks amazing, a little burnt beige outer ring of head. But this is a big glass. Why are we using this? So I can get a good nose on this because there's some crazy ingredients in here. Macaroon, ginger. The ginger is what's throwing me off, and then cacao nibs or cocoa nibs. I don't know. I feel like everybody online says cacao. I say cocoa. I don't know. But Macaroon Stout, I'm not sure they've ever done anything like this. I don't think so. I think one of the owners may have mentioned that this reminded him of maybe something his mother or grandmother made. I didn't really look it up, guys. I like to just go in mostly blind. Yes, I looked up a little bit, but I didn't look up the background. I didn't really even look into, what barrel. I think it's a bourbon barrel, but maybe for a year. I don't know the finite details of all of it. Maybe I should to be more specific, but nonetheless, let's get in. Let's get a nose on this. Wow. So much action in here. What? The first thing that comes to mind is caramel. I don't know if that's normal, but not only caramel, but flaked coconut, rich, sweet flaked coconut. Raisin, some dark coated chocolatey raisins. A little bit of brownie batter. It's like a coconut brownie fudge bomb. I don't know. It smells very good. It smells very rich. Ginger, very subdued. I don't know that I would know that going into this. There could be some little spice that's attributed to not only the barrel, but you could say it's a little bit of ginger or candied ginger, but I think it just adds a little bit to the delicacy of the sweetness here. I don't know that I would know that. But it's a beautiful flaked coconut sweetness, adding into a little bit of this brownie batter, a little bit of slight coffee roast, a little bit of dark chocolate raisin. That's the biggest thing. But I get like a little bit of like a caramel note in here as well. But maybe that's the cocoa nibs. I mean, that's just like the cocoa dusted powder in your face, a little bit more liquidy, a little bit more wet, a little bit more submerged on the nose than it is maybe as a powder. I don't know. It feels like it's finite liquid, right? So it feels like it's a little bit more oily, a little bit more wet on the nose. But this does smell amazing. I mean, macaroon makes sense. It's a coconut bomb. There's some baker's chocolate and milk chocolate in here as well. It smells absolutely freaking delicious. If this was in my nose blindly, I'd say there's some sort of pastry or something in front of me that a baker just made. But guys, it is what it is. It's the Macaroon Stout. So happy that I got another variant. I got a couple variants this year. This is unlike any other year. I usually can't get these. Maybe one or two variants. I got two this year. I'll review the base going forward. Let's go for it. Cheers. Ooh. So this is cold, right? And there's a little bit of unpleasantness on the back end. I don't know if it's just the barrel coming in with heat, but there's this like weird, slightly artificial flavor that comes in after you get like this vanilla, coconutty caramel. And then you're hit with like this kind of artificial twist on the back end a little bit that plays into the heat of the barrel, and there is a little bit of that heat, but there's this weird like twang of weirdness that hits your palate after it finishes on the back end, or as it finishes. But the beginning, really tasty coconut, toasty coconut, rich, sweet coconut flakes, milk chocolate, baker's chocolate, some dark chocolate, all kind of melted into one bit of liquid. And then again, I keep going back to this weird like caramel brownie batter note that comes in, but I know I get brownies on the base of Goose Island Bourbon County Brand Stout. So this is just kind of another addition into that base. But the coconut very much overshadows everything else. It's strong. And there's some big alcohol legs running down here. It looks good. And it's very sweet. This is cold. So the barrel's here, and I think it will come out the more this warms up, but it's coming off a little weird twang on the back end. Not sure that I love that immediately. First sip, and this is cold, so will that get better or worse as it warms up? Probably not better. I think that's just like mostly an alcohol burn. So the barrel's very strong on this. It's much stronger than the rye stout variant. I think that had vanilla sweetness that kind of masked it a little bit better. This is stronger. It's 0.6% higher octane as well. It's a fiery barrel. Like it's a woody, oaky, strong, astringent barrel that does hit you with the alcohol warmth, and it comes strangely and collides into that kind of coconut, caramel cocoa nib note that I'm getting. And it's not that it's unpleasant, it's just a strange flavor that actually is tough to transition from that to the barrel. I just think it's an odd transition on the back end. I don't know that it's necessarily legit or it's artificial. Like it tastes maybe a touch artificial on the back end, but I think it is mostly that barrel just hitting you and colliding into this sweetness, this macaroon ginger thing, and maybe that's what that is that ginger that kind of interferes a little bit. It comes in and it plays off of the barrel heat. I think that's what that is, and I forgot truly while I was drinking this because the macaroon, the coconut, that little weird caramel thing, so strong, right? So you almost forgot that there was any other adjunct or variant of products in here. It's weird. I'm going to say the alcohol warmth, in addition to just that candied strong ginger note, and I'm going to say it's the ginger note, it's interfering a little bit with that sweetness, with that caramely cocoa nib coconut. I think it slightly doesn't transition 100% well. I'd say it's 85% of the way there, and then it just hits you with a little bit of that astringency. Just not a perfect transition, and I'm being very critical because that's what I do with these bourbon counties, and especially big stouts, big famous stouts, bourbon barrel aged. Is this good? Absolutely. I think it's a little strong. I mean, this caramel coconut note that I'm getting is very overpowering. You do get that barrel, yet that I think that little ginger, dried ginger, candy ginger, slightly interferes. It gives you that little peppery fire note on the back and a little bit of that fireball shot, which isn't bad for you bourbon barrel aged lovers. But I think it's not only making it a touch unpleasant, it just isn't a good transition from the middle to the back end. And also I think it's taking away a little bit from the actual barrel itself, kind of disguising it as just big heat. And it's an artificial stepping stone. It collides a little bit too strongly with the front and middle. But that's me being seriously overcritical, guys, from a beer nerd perspective. Well, most people like this. I think so. I think the other variant is better than this one by a decent margin, the rye stout. The Madagascar vanilla beans. I think that this one's a little too overcomplicated. There's a little too many factors playing in that doesn't add to drinkability, right? It gives you a tough transition from the middle to the back end. But with all that being said, dark chocolate raisin, you're drinking Fireball. There's dark chocolate raisins. There's cocoa dust and powder. There's milk chocolate and baker's chocolate. There's a little bit of coffee and dark chocolate. And it's a freaking bomb, dude. It's a coconut bomb that isn't bad. It's just that it's very strong, very overpowering compared to the rest of the products and or ingredients in this mix. Will this get better as it warms up? I don't know. I guess I'll let this sit, guys, and then if you want to ask me in the comments what did I think, or maybe you're drinking it right now or you're going to. What do you think with this warmed up? Is the ginger too heavy? I think it might be. And I do think it's a fun variant for sure, but it doesn't flow as well as some of the others. Kind of interferes a little bit with the barrel uniqueness, and it interferes a little bit with the ingredients in the front end, namely that coconut and namely the base of the variant here. So is this good? Yes, it is still. It's a little hot and spicy. I think it's the ginger. I was very critical today for good reason. I'm giving you an honest perspective. So how do I put this? Is this my absolute favorite stout of all time from Bourbon County? No. Is it good? Yes, it is. Is it fantastic? I don't know that I'd call it like amazingly fantastic. It's good. Chocolatey Tootsie Roll, caramel, coconut. And I gave you all the notes I have in my mind right now. So sorry for the lengthy review, but I'm going to put this at a solid 4.24. I think there's too much going on. I don't think the transition's perfect from front to back, from middle to back. That's it. 4.24 out of 5, guys. It's a Bourbon County brand Macaroon Stout. Thank you so much for being here. If you're going to pour a beer, make sure it's a damn good one. Cheers.